Hi, it's Tracy from Purple Cats Quilting. Welcome to my sewing room today. It's a beautiful spring day in Alberta. Still lots of snow at our house, but hoping it melts soon. I am working on my Tamarack jacket, and I'm doing probably one of the scariest parts of the whole process. And that's after I've made my front and back fabric, like put all the pieces together and the design elements, I'm cutting it out. Yeah, so I actually pinned it a couple days ago. I was really tired at night and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to wait and do that in a couple days. After I've looked at it a few times and thought about it, you know, you'd want to make sure that your fabric, if it's directional or whatever, that you get it cut out. I cut this stripe here, so that's going to be like a little facing thing on the front. I just love that. I'm going to bind in the black and white also. I've got all my components here. I cut out my hood, and the hood is an extra PDF pattern that you can buy from Grainline Studios, the hood and the collar. So I am not quilting my hood. I never have before. I'm going to have a polka dot hood with a pink lining, and I'm going to put SF101 on both pieces to give it some stability rather than quilting it. I just like that texture better. SF101 is a fusible interfacing that we use in bag making just to prevent your fabric from stretching, and it gives just a bit of structure to the hood, so it's really nice. The next thing I have cut out is my, I'm doing the collar. And so I have my collar cut out in polka dots and in stripes. So that's pretty easy. The patterns are marked like center back, so that means place on fold. This will be the edge. I cut to my size 16 like I always do. Let me see. Yep, your hood is also cut on a fold. So those are important things. Whenever you see this line, that means place that piece on the fold because it's going to open up into one big piece. Now, I know people have sometimes forgot that part, and you can put a small little seam in there to fix it, but that's what that means, place on fold. Now, this is my jacket front, and I have transferred my pattern markings onto my patternies, right? And then I use that line there where it says lengthen or shorten here, and I'm adding 4 inches. So I opened it up and I added 4 inches. I've got the markings there for the pocket. I've got the grain line showing. This is if you have directional fabric. It's very important to have this line running up and down as much as you can. Now, I don't have directional fabric, but I have a fabric with a definite line here, those points, right? So I want to keep it as true and as straight as I can to that. But I was also worried about my stripes being up and down. So, I think I got it pretty good. Now I am going to use, I'm making the Queen of Hearts jacket, so I am going to use Tula Pink's Carousel down the rabbit hole for my lining. So I was just pressing it and I'm like, oh man, I'm sure glad I remembered that it has directional fabric and it's different than what normal is. Tula ran it from selvage to selvage. So then I had to press it out flat and turn it around to lay my pattern pieces out. So now here is something that I do different. If you are making your top structure and then your background, and then you're going to quilt it on your domestic like I'm going to do today, and I will put little videos on as I'm doing it today to show you how easy it is to do. I am going to cut my lining fabric about 1 inch bigger all the way around. Now, I could cut it exactly the same and pin the edges and stabilize them before I start quilting, but I like to do it just 1 inch wider. It just gives me a little bit of leeway because if you're going to quilt dense, it's going to kind of pull it together. So that would just pull in your edges and make it almost smaller. So if you cut 1 inch extra for your facing, like your lining of your jacket and your batting, lay this on top of it, pin it, and then do your quilting. You can trim it after. You can trim it back to the original pattern size. It just gives you a little bit of breathing room, makes it a little bit easier, especially if it's your first time. So that's how I do it. That's what I'm going to do for all my pieces. My 2 fronts, So this is my front, this is gonna be my front right. Then I still am making my front left. Then I have my back, and I'll show you that again. And I added a little bit of length because I think I want mine a little bit longer. So there's my back all made up. So I'm now, again, this is very important. Your back is placed on a fold so you don't have a seam running down the middle of your back. Having a seam down the middle of your back is okay because I actually have one running down the middle of my back, but for the pattern piece, you just place it on a fold. So there's my left back side. And again, I'm going to cut my facing fabric, my lining fabric, an inch bigger around this whole pattern piece. I'm going to place it on the fold, and then I'm going to cut one big one of my facing and my batting. There's the other side of my back. Isn't that cool? I did run a seam down there. I really wanted to get the black and white stripes in there. I absolutely love it. I also am going to play with a little bit of ribbon. And I think I'm going to put the ribbon on before I quilt it, or as part of my quilting process. Look at that. Look at that tulip pink ribbon. That's that Renaissance ribbon. I'm going to run that on my seams. I think it'll look cool. I brought home 2 or 3. I also, because this is a free spirit fabric contest, I put the selvage in my fabric. Look at that. You put the tulip pink Curiouser and Curiouser selvage into my design element. So that's pretty cool. So again, here's my back. I'm going to place it on the fold. Directional print, because look at these girls, like they're falling down the hole. So this is definitely the top. I need the top of my pattern pieces to be up here and running that way rather than them going this way. I mean, it's happened before, but I remembered, so I cut it. Then I'm going to cut my backing, my batting. Then I'm going to do my sleeves. My sleeves I'm pretty excited about. I've got, where did I put my flying geese? I have the flying geese element for my sleeves using, where did I put that? Using the Quilt Smart product. I'm also going to put a few of these. This is the Quilt Smart product, the Little Lone Star, and I'm going to make a few more, and that's going to be on my front side. I'll show you a little bit later. Hi, Carol Wamas. You are the best ever. I miss you so much. Carol Wamas was my first free spirit fabric lady, and she moved away, but boy, oh boy, she sure taught me a lot. Hi, Carol. Nice to see you. So I'm going to make this spray with this. This is a Quilt Smart Products Little Lone Star. They look amazing. If you haven't had a chance yet to check out Tara Sinclair's coat, go to Purple Cats Quilting, go to Purple Cats VIP, check out Uh-Oh Creations on Instagram and Facebook. She did her jacket. She started it when we had our retreat a couple weekends ago, and she's finished yesterday. She got some beautiful pictures. It's using Tim Holtz Alchemy in the bright gold yellow background. She used a bunch of these made out of the Tim Holtz and placed them all over her pattern. Her design is just amazing. So there you go. This is my Sunday sew. I'm pretty excited. I hope to have this done today. Creating your fabric is probably the most time labor intensive, but it is also the most fun. It's how you can create a one-of-a-kind piece. Now, if you're making your first jacket, make sure you do some measurements. Make sure you do that test to make sure it fits before you go to all of this work. If you're using the Pattern Ease, you can cut out your size and stitch your 5/8 inch seam on the side and the top and try it on. That will give you a really quick way of checking. Then you just use a big basting stitch. When you do that, you pull them out. You can reuse your Pattern Ease. Another suggestion that I made to people was make it out of an old sheet or an old piece of fabric or something. Please, you know, it's just important to make sure you have the right size before you go to all of this work, because you're just going to be really sad. So that's my day. What are you working on? I hope that you get to enjoy some sunshine. I'm very lucky to have this beautiful window in here. This actually used to be our little cat run out here on the deck, so it's all enclosed in. Yeah, and stay tuned. I'll show you the next step. I'll show you the sleeves, and then I'll show you some quilting, how I'm going to quilt it as I'm quilting it on my domestic, because I have a messy sewing room, you know that, right? I am just going to use a straight stitch. I am just going to do like a patchwork kind of quilt. So I'll show you, I'm using wool batting, and I just use a regular foot, a regular stitch. I'm going to match my thread to my top and bottom as best I can. I'm not sure what color. I'll probably use like a neutral silver. That's what I have on right now. And I'm just going to quilt it. It's going to be amazing no matter how it's done. So if you're thinking that you want to try it, even just 2 pieces of your favorite fabric, quilt them together. You can add some design elements after. Sometimes just picking your favorite fabric and putting it on your body like a coat is just a joy. I know that when I go into the stores, people comment on my jackets all the time. This is the Night Sky Sew Along on my design wall. These are those portable wool design walls that we have still available in the shop. You can roll them up and take them with you. You can roll them up and put them out of the way. This is my Night Sky quilt. I have 1 more week. I've got the first rows put together. So I just have to add the sashing to the rest of my blocks and it will be done. So have a great day. Thanks for joining me. Happy Sunday.